welcome to Naughty or Nice with Miss Cassie. Tonight, my very special guest is Pi and his lovely ladies. It's so good to have you here.
Great to be here.
Now, as you may remember, audience, this pretty young lady was on my show a few weeks ago. This is the gentleman. She stuck her hand up his ass. I just thought you would like to put an ass with the face. And he's awesome.
Thank you.
You really are. I have to tell you, you are one of the happiest people I have ever met and seen. Every time I see you, you're smiling, you're cheerful. It's amazing. How do you keep channeling such positive energy? Wow.
What can I say? I don't know. Life is just too short to not really enjoy it.
Good answer.
Live the dream. That's what I say.
Oh, I love that.
Just do it.
Yeah, so many of us forget that. You know, we get so stoic in our adult lives and, you know, are just, you know, trudging along one foot in front of the other. We forget to smell the roses and have a good time.
It's difficult.
Yeah, after all, why are we doing all this trudging? You know? Of course, I guess trudging could be somebody's kink. Yeah.
I prefer to call that.
Trampling.
Trampling.
I'm a fan.
Do you like to be trampled?
I like a little bit of everything, to be honest.
You do?
I do. If I haven't tried it, my rule is I'll do anything 3 times in case I did it wrong the first time, didn't like it the second time. So I just have to. I just have to try everything. And that way I have a valid opinion when it comes to that particular thing for me personally. So I can't really poo-poo something, no pun intended, that I haven't done. You know, if I have experience with it, then I have a real opinion about it.
Oh, I absolutely agree with you. You know, there's nothing like putting something into action and really having the proof of the pudding.
Yep.
You know, because how many of us, you know, we get this great idea in our head, but it's like until that idea is actually out of the head and becomes flesh, you know, you really, until then, it's really just imaginary.
Yep.
Now, imagination is a great way to fuel your sex life, absolutely.
Yep.
You know, but there's a reason why you're messing with your head inside, because you want to do something here to make it really exciting.
Yeah, I mean, our brains are the most powerful sexual organ we have.
Woo-hoo! Yes.
Yeah, true story.
It is. Yeah, I totally agree with that statement. Yeah, and I know I even have scenarios that will run through my head if I'm like fucking somebody really lame and I need to get off.
Why are you fucking them in the first place is the question.
I don't do that
make
as
mistakes.
much as, yes, we do, and I don't do it as much as I used to. You know, because sometimes you don't know if they're a good lay until you actually fuck them.
That's true.
You know? Or at least have their, you know, genitals in your mouth or something so you can sample it and say, do I like the way this tastes? Do I like the way it feels? If it feels this way in my mouth, well, maybe I'll consider putting it in my vagina. Well, you know, I mean, it's like you said, put it into action.
Yeah.
Feel it,
Try it.
you know?
Try it, see what happens.
Now, I don't fuck them 3 times because I can usually tell on the first time.
Yeah.
Sorry. I fucked enough people to know I don't need to go there the 3rd time if I'm not into it. Well, so what kind of mischief have you been up to lately?
Lately we've been, Viv and I have been doing the fisting thing a bit.
Anarchy events.
Yeah, anarchy events have been great. We've performed a couple times the last 2 months at Sanctuary for the
did
anarchy
you do it
event.
at the last one at
We
the
did
Disney party?
Disney. Yeah.
Oh my God.
I got to be Michael and wear my little onesie and carry a teddy bear.
I was Tinkerbell.
She was Tink and she worked me over pretty good.
Oh yeah, I saw your costume. Yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
Oh, so you guys are playing in the back room then?
Right, because it was a temp anarchy, so the awesome stuff has to go in the back room.
The
Yeah.
real kink.
Yeah.
The real kink, yeah. I was
I
planning
should
on
not
the
say the
front.
awesome. Awesome stuff's all around, but the penetration goes on in the.
Well,
big
yeah.
room.
And I have to admit, that is the most clothes I have ever worn to an event. You saw my white queen
Oh,
outfit.
yeah.
I had actual clothes. You couldn't see
The wig
my
was
ankles.
awesome.
Yeah. Oh, but it was beautiful.
So yeah, we've been doing that and going out a bit more. I've kind of
Mhm.
I realized that I hadn't been out in the scene as much as I would like to, and I kind of lost touch with some of my people I consider my family in the
Yeah.
scene, and so I've been really making an effort to get out and spend more time with my family,
Oh, that is
my
so
kinky
cool.
family,
Yeah.
because it's the people that we choose as family are really special.
They are.
Special.
They are. Yeah, because I have to admit, I've run into you more at like potlucks and stuff like that than I have actually at the clubs.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, it was very nice to see you at Sanctuary.
It's been great being around a lot more. But I've been in the scene almost 10 years now, so
Wow.
I know a few people, and they seem to remember me, so that's always wonderful.
Yeah, everybody likes a slice of pie.
Oh, and I gotta say hi. I gotta say hi to everybody in Columbia, my extended family. I love you all. Miss you.
Aww.
Went to Thanksgiving in St. Louis over Thanksgiving, obviously,
Oh, nice.
and hung out with my extended family there.
Nice.
Yeah, had a blast.
Oh, I bet it was Thanksgiving.
Yeah, great convention.
Really?
Yeah, it was.
So, what kind of things did they spank? Did they spank a turkey?
I didn't see that actually. I got spanked quite a bit.
You got spanked quite a
yeah,
bit?
that's a total win whenever
Yeah.
that happens.
Did they make you dress up as a turkey?
No, no, it was butt ass cold there though. So
Oh.
it's St. Louis in November, so it was quite cold. But
Okay,
yeah, it was really interesting. It was the first convention I've been to aside from DomCon. I've only ever been to DomCon LA, and I've been to 6 or 7 of them in the last 11 years.
Mm-hmm.
And this was all just lifestyle. There wasn't any pro stuff. So it was a totally different vibe, and they're
Mhm.
both just fantastic conventions.
Oh, absolutely. I've been to many conventions across the country, and it's a wonderful world out there. I have met some of the greatest people.
Yeah.
You know, I love those Spanksters from Wisconsin. Oh my God, they're so much fun, and all the wonderful kinky people I met in Chicago, and then you know, I met some really cool people in Denver and Portland, and it's always amazing. And it's always amazing to see the same people that show up at the events, and then all the new people that you meet.
Right.
You know, because I just really have so much fun, and I love the impromptu dungeons they set up. You know, those are always cool. You know, you've never played in a dungeon until it's been set up in the ballroom of a hotel. And they bring all this stuff in. I mean, one time they had all this scaffolding and stuff. It was awesome. Oh, okay. I will talk louder. I have a cold, everybody, so I'm a little under the weather, but I will try to talk louder. All right.
So what do you want to know about me?
Everything.
Ask.
Why are you awesome?
Why am I awesome? Because I surround myself with awesome people. It's really just as simple as that. The whole reason that I got into this lifestyle in the first place almost 10 years ago is because I was looking for a way to connect, a more deep way to connect with people, and so that's what I've done. And progressively, it's gone from just kind of dabbling to, okay, this is really what we're doing here. This is who I am. This is who I want to be, and finding those other people. really figuring out for myself who I am, and then sharing that really openly and really honestly in a safe environment, of course, which is the lifestyle and the events that happen, and just not having to have any pretense about who I am, or how big my dick is, or how much money I make, or anything like that. Like, those aren't important things to me. What is important, and what are the most important things to me? We were just talking about this recently. What was the word I used? not hobbies, but
Passion?
my passion is relationships, is people, and connecting with other people, whether it be a friendship or a play relationship or a love relationship or a romantic relationship or a fuck buddy or whatever it is. My passion is allowing the energy to people that I have with another person, and sometimes more than one person, other person, allowing that energy to be whatever it needs to be, and really embracing that and running with it. But in order to do that, I had to figure out who I was and go through that whole process so that I could be honest about it. You know, be like, okay, I'm not straight, I'm not vanilla, I'm not monogamous. So, but those things had to be figured out.
Oh, absolutely.
And now I have, you know, a handful of people in my life that are just amazing, and they bring amazing things to my life, and it allows me to bring amazing things to their life.
Oh, that sounds wonderful.
That's the long answer.
Yeah, no, and that's a great answer. I totally get it, because I know I've been on quite a journey since I've been in the lifestyle. You know, finding out who I am and why I was the way I was, and, you know, truly finding out what it is that I like in life. You know, it helped me get over some very traumatic events in my life, helping me take my power back. Which, you know, I had gone the route of, you know, talking to psychologists and stuff, trying to figure this all out. And it didn't matter what pill they put me on or what mental exercise they had me do. It wasn't solving my trauma and my problems. I couldn't let go. I was still having, like, you know, post-traumatic stress syndrome as a result of the traumatic incidents. But when I came into the lifestyle and I actually faced some of my fears during certain play sessions, at first it terrified me, but eventually I took my power back. I realized I have control over this. They can't kill me. You know, they can't hurt me without my consent. You know, and they don't want to kill me.
Fear is a very powerful thing. A friend of mine says fear is what robs us of the lives we could have. You know, and so he said that to me 9 or 10 years ago, like right when I was first coming into the scene, and he's a vanilla dude, great guy, I love him, and I carried that with me, and it really hit home with me because there are so many things that we're afraid of, like, you know, internalized homophobia, or you know, things like that. You know, for me, it was not being gay or straight, you know, being somewhere in the middle, and I, you know, not being dominant or submissive, being somewhere around there, and any of those other things that we can kind of look at in a binary fashion. Like, I don't feel like any of those things defines me one way or the other. Somewhere I'm in there, but I don't really know what that is. And I was really afraid that, okay, well, I came in as submissive and was on this show as a submissive, actually 6 or 7 years ago, with a bunch of dom buddies of mine, and it was fantastic. But that's not who I am. That's a part of who I am. And there are a lot of different facets to us as human beings, and being able to explore all of those areas and really address the fears of not being accepted. You know, like I'm just as comfortable being tied up and hit, you know, whipped with a single tail by a man or a woman, as long as I have that energy with them, as I am doing that to somebody else that I have that energy with. So I'm just as comfortable either way. But it took time for me to get there.
Well, yeah, a certain amount of acceptance, because I know when I first started running around in the gay community, and all the lesbians were going, well, you know, you got to get off the fence and make up your mind, you know, or, you know, or the other one, you know, well, you've been bi, you can't be one of us, you know, and it's just like, I just couldn't figure out why I had to make a decision, you know. I wanted to explore who I was. I didn't need somebody telling me that, you know, get off the fence, or you can't be gay, or you can't do this. And the thing is, and, you know, the truth is, I am very much gay. I mean, you know, that is my preference, you know, but people have a hard time accepting that with me. But you don't look the part, you know, and it's like, I don't care. I look like me. I accept me for who I am. So what if I come in a pretty package? Not my fault.
I love pretty lesbians. They're my favorite. I love people who are who they are and just own it, you know.
Well, exactly, and I think that was the thing that was most disconcerting for me was people telling me I couldn't be that way, and I did listen to him. I'm going, well, maybe they're right, and had to do a few more years of experimenting before I realized no, I was right, and I am still right.
Absolutely, you are 100% right. I had a very similar experience with when I was in probably my teens.
Mm-hmm.
The gay communities. You're just afraid that you're gay. That's why you say goodbye. And the straight community kind of saying the same thing, and being in the middle. Or the one that I loved the most was you're just greedy. A lot of my straight friends would just call me greedy. Like, you just want to have sex with everyone, and and in that point in my life, that was kind of true. But at the same time, I wasn't. I was trying to figure that out for myself.
Yeah, you were trying to figure out who you are.
Yeah.
I mean, I went through that. I was married once upon a time to a man, and he was telling everybody he was the great bisexual. He just couldn't come to terms with himself that he was really gay. And I figured it out fairly quickly when I realized I was just bait to get him in the house if he wanted to be fucked. Yes. But it took
you couldn't take care of that for him?
Well, I stuck a lot of things up his ass. I carved a lot of vegetables.
Everybody wins.
And pulled things out of the toolbox, and we stuck all sorts of things up his ass. He was always putting things up his ass. I mean, one time he's going through my stuff, and he looks at a tampon and he sticks that up his ass. He didn't realize that it was going to absorb every bit of moisture in his anus. In his rectum. Oh my God, that was hilarious because it got stuck.
Yeah, I'll bet.
And I don't know.
That's painful too. I can't imagine.
Yeah, I don't know if he's ever come to terms with it, but I know that the only time he was ever truly happy is when he had a man in his life. And it just did something for him. I hope that he has finally discovered that, and that he's moved on to better things, but that's not my problem anymore.
No, I think that's the hope. I think that's the hope for everybody, that they find out who they are, truly, and then they're able to share that with other people, and find the people that are their people.
Well, yeah, and everybody comes to goes on a different journey and does it the way that it just ends up for their life. How many marriages have we found where a couple of years in, one of the partners decides, I'm gay.
Right.
We've even seen that with politicians.
Yeah.
Yeah. That aid was more than aid. Oh. Is there somebody in the chat room at this time, Mel?
Yeah, we've got people that are in the chat room, and so far we have lots of people that are watching that are not in the chat room. Sylvia Hammer's in the chat room. Angelo's in the chat room. Darren is in the chat room, and guest 142 is in the chat room. So if you're not in the chat room, please sign on to go to TSR Network, go into View Live Show, and come into the chat room because we're burning to have you guys ask us questions because of our guest.
Yes, I definitely want to hear some questions from the chat room tonight. Yeah, please, Miss Cassie needs your help. Get in that chat room and ask us lots of questions. Well, you've got these two beautiful women with you.
Yeah.
What's the dynamic here?
I don't. Yes.
Yes, it is a dynamic.
The answer is yes. I would say that if there's a spectrum like dominant submissive, I'm about just the dominant side of that middle mark. But as far as dynamics in specific relationships, they really fluctuate and evolve and change. And I love these two women incredibly. I'm gonna get all sappy and
Oh, it's
Because
lovely.
that's how much of a woman I am. I'm such a softie.
Aww.
And that's a compliment to women, by the way. Please don't take that the wrong way. Yeah, I feel so fortunate to have the people in my life that I do today. And the dynamic is we're dating. We're dating.
Nice.
I'm dating each one of them, and I met them about the same time. I met Vivian a couple weeks earlier, and at Sanctuary, and
Nice.
and then met Raven 2 weeks later at Sanctuary. It's kind of good to meet people where you go.
Hey, you guys, it's sounding like sanctuaries all have that spot. You know, more people
Sorry.
need to go down to those play parties. You just might meet somebody
Yeah,
wonderful.
yeah. There are amazing people in the scene that know who they are, and so yeah. I mean, I guess I would just say it's a dating dynamic. I would say I'm more on the dominant side with both of you, but it's hard to think of it that way when she's sticking her hand in my ass.
Yeah, I
Because
think
I'm
we have
just
more of a
enjoying
switch
myself.
dynamic than you two.
Yeah, a little bit more so. But we played. Raven and I played. The first couple nights we hung out together, we spanked each other.
Nice.
Yeah, it was just.
Well, I find the happiest dynamics are actually when both people are switches.
Yeah, and I think when it's organic
Yes.
as well, like not trying to say, okay, well, you be the dominant, I'm going to be the submissive this time. Like I think.
find that it flows naturally between most couples.
Yeah.
Especially with bondage, I find that a lot of couples love to switch in bondage.
Yeah.
It's just whatever the mood is for the night. He's feeling a little randy or wants to be more rambunctious that night, so he becomes the tire, or she's switching it up. Or they switch halfway through and tie each other up. I mean, it's all
Awesome.
good.
Yeah, I think if you're being organic and just going with the energy,
Mm-hmm.
that's key. That's really key to any situation, any good relationship.
Oh, I agree with
is being
you.
just natural and letting it happen the way it needs to.
Well, Mel's hand's been flying up in the corner. What's going on?
We have a chat room question from Angelo for Pi.
Yes, sir.
How did your first poly relationship play out, and was it success on the first try?
Thanks for the question, Angela. It played out quite well, actually, and when I first came into the scene, actually my second dom, I'm not sure that I should mention her name, so I won't, but she had 2 or 3 submissives at the time and a boyfriend, and I came in as her submissive. I met her online and talked with her on the phone, and then booked a session with her, and that began our relationship. And I was with her for a little under 6 months, and it went really well in that she was very loving, and I learned the tenets of love, respect, and transparency from her. And she'll always be a very special woman to me. I ended up asking her to let me go about 6 months in, because I realized that the dynamic for me was not quite what I wanted, and I was pretty new. I'd only been in the scene for about a year at that time, or in the lifestyle, I should say. But it went really well. I wrote her a long letter, and she was not living in Los Angeles at the time, but I was, and I wrote her a long letter and needed to talk to her about it, and she let me read it to her over the phone and then send it to her. And then she replied, and it was just such a loving.
It's okay. It's okay.
I love you, goddess. Yeah, it was just really an amazing, loving situation, and I asked her to let me go because I knew that if I stayed, that I was going to make things really difficult for the rest of the family because I wanted something different, and so I asked her to let me go, and she did, and it was a beautiful relationship, and one that still she's a good friend. Like I would, if she called me today, I would drop whatever I was doing to show up for her. She's amazing.
That's fantastic.
So, yeah.
And that is the way it is. It's like when I agree to consider a sub, my questions are always, well, I need to know everything about you. Are you in school? Do you work? You know, and they're like, why do you need to know all that? And it's like, well, I need to know who you are. And also, I have a requirement that you need to have your shit together, you know, and that is part of, you know, the dynamic that you're going to be in with me. You know, if you're in school, you need to be doing your studies. I'm sorry, that takes priority over play. You know, if you do your studies and get an A, you will get play.
Come on over.
You know, I mean, whatever it takes. But, you know, you're a whole person. And, you know, I am not going to allow this lifestyle to derail their life. You know, I like, you know, to get them to understand that, you know, that they're growing, they're learning, they're doing, and, you know, they may outgrow me. You know, or they may even outgrow the lifestyle, and, you know, you're going to want a career to fall back on. You know, or at least I hope you're working towards a career, you know, so that you can play a long time.
I think Angela's question, if I can extrapolate a little bit, was probably more along the lines of wondering how that worked, just being in a poly relationship and sharing people, which I didn't think about until just now. But that was something that was, it's a very common thing that there aren't a lot of people in general that are really comfortable with sharing their lovers.
That's true.
With other people, and even in the poly community, that, you know, people are uncomfortable with it, and it's normal, it's natural to have fear and to have insecurities and all of those things. So to address that part of the question that I think I heard, I think that it comes down to knowing who you are and knowing what you have to offer as an individual, because nobody has my experience, nobody has my upbringing, nobody has my relationship history or work history or any of that other stuff. Nobody's read exactly the same books that I've read or thought about them in the exact same way. So I bring something individual, and so do you, and so does each one of us.
Oh, absolutely.
So knowing that and living from that place, knowing that, you know, I was bringing something to my dom, that first dom, that nobody else could bring to her. She had 2 or 3 other submissives. They can't bring what I can bring. I can't bring what they can bring.
No, everybody's unique as an individual. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I think that is the key to getting to a place in especially in poly relationships that are sexual, that are romantic, that are, you know, a little bit more involved than just play relationships.
Oh, absolutely. I've had many poly dynamics, and absolutely each one has been different. It had to do with, you know, where people were at in their lives. You know, and some people were discovering that they were really mono. They just, you know, but they needed to experience poly before they realized, oh, hey, you know, I really want that special one-on-one thing.
Right.
And where
I do too. I want this one-on-one, and this one-on-one, and this one-on-one, and maybe this one. You know.
Well, yeah.
I look at each relationship as a, you know, as a one-on-one relationship. I'm inclusive, and I don't keep anything from anybody, because it doesn't serve me. It doesn't serve them either.
No, it doesn't.
But each relationship is its own thing. It's really special, and they're each special for completely different reasons.
Oh, I agree with you 100%. You know, because I mean, at one time, I mean, I had 3 guys in my poly family. But they didn't want anything to do with each other, but they were all cool that they were with me. And they each had something different to give me, and that's why I was attracted to each one of them. But not one of them was the person I was meant to be mono on mono. Right. It just wasn't. But it really, for whatever reason, at that point in time, fulfilled all our needs. Eventually, we transitioned to other things, you know, but at that, for a few years there, that was just perfect for the 4 of us, you know, and we appreciated what it was at the time, you know, and no feelings were hurt or anything when we moved on from that, and we've all gone on to different things, you know.
Like
and
we do.
We do.
We grow, we evolve.
We do,
that's
exactly.
That's the hope of this.
Yes. Yes, I absolutely believe that, and, you know, I do believe people need to experiment and find out who they are. I see that hand going up again. Is there more questions?
Yes, there's questions, but first of all, there is guest 718 has come into the room, and it is Dr. Is it G. Grency, A.K.
yes.
Grande, and they said Mistress Carla is listening. They wanted to let you guys know.
Oh, that's awesome.
And also, they asked a question, or guest 718 asked a question. I love Pie's tattoo on his left wrist. Does it have any significance for him, and where did he have it done?
I had this done by a woman named Stephanie that's on Lincoln Boulevard. I think it's Ink Tattoo. Steph, I love you. She rocks. She did all my other ink too, which you won't be able to see because I got to keep my clothes on, sadly. But it's actually a variation of the triskel, which is an ancient symbol. It's basically like a three-pronged yin yang.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it can mean anything. For me, it represents love, respect, and transparency. So that's why I got that. And I think that's the full answer.
Yes, that was an
Did I leave
excellent
anything
I
out?
have one
answer.
as well, but I use it as safe, sane, and consensual. Those
There's
are the
that.
three that I use in my.
Well, since we're discussing ink, I understand that you have gotten a little bit more added to your legs since you were on the show.
Let's see it.
Let's see, gorgeous lady.
Oops. So we added a new mermaid to her.
Boobies.
Boobies.
It goes all the way up. Yay!
Oh, that is just gorgeous, Vivian.
Thank you.
Very nice.
He's actually able to show it.
But there are some other ones that you can't show.
That's true.
Yeah, like that very. Did you have cherries on your vagina? Or
I have
something?
cherries, and I have a firecracker, and I have my Castilian like this.
Oh,
But they're a different
nice.
format.
Well, what
She's
are
got the yin yang version of it.
So what tattoo can't you show us tonight because it's in an intimate area and where?
I have work going up both legs and up to my ass and then coming around my hips, which was something Stephanie at Ink also sat with me and designed with me and we did together. It was about 30 hours.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. I absolutely love it, and it really fits your body well.
That was the goal, actually. It's just art. It means absolute fucking nothing. It's just pretty. I wanted something pretty and different, and there you go. That's what we came up
love that answer. Because most of us really are just looking for something pretty. I always snicker when somebody gives me this big old long story, going, really? I think you're just trying to justify your ink.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes people do wonderful tributes and stuff, for a lost family member or something. That's really cool. But, it's like most of us, don't be shitting us. We know you just wanted to get a tattoo.
Just wanted a sleeve.
Yeah.
It's not mine, sorry. It's just my artist, and let him do what he wants. We decide what we want to do together, and we just do it. There's no special meeting with any of that. Just one big mural on my side.
Nice.
And it's pretty.
And it's pretty. Yes, pretty is good.
And it's good to lick.
Did they use flavored ink? Or do you add flavor?
Well, we add our own.
Yes.
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 Oh, you guys work it up and get very salty, or if you actually paint it on? Flavored lube?
No.
No.
Natural
Kool-Aid?
flavors.
Food?
Whatever.
Any more questions in that chat room now?
I don't know if let me read this. It's again from guest 718. Is one of the three more dominant than the other, or more submissive than the other? What are the unusual dynamics of their sexual involvement and playtime? So they basically want to know what is your roles in each of them, and what is your sexual involvement and your playtime.
Sounds like
a long question.
Yeah, that's a big question.
Sounds like someone's going to masturbate during this.
Yeah.
Awesome. Oh, by the way, I had a bunch of couples that I'm friends with, vanilla couples that I'm friends with, that said they were going to watch, and I told them they need to masturbate while they're watching. So if you guys aren't masturbating, whip it out and start doing
Yes.
it.
Yes, and
Because
get in that
otherwise, this
chat
is all
room.
for nothing.
Yeah, get in that chat room and tell us how many times you're stroking it.
We can't do it on camera, so we got to imagine you're doing it on the other side.
Yes, masturbate for us, and we want to hear the details. Okay?
Yes!
It's a miracle over there.
Do you want to? I would like for them to answer their portion of that question.
Absolutely.
Because that would be most appropriate, I think.
I'll go. Ours is sexual. We have like a switch dynamic, which is kind of whatever we're feeling at the time. It could be regular vanilla sex, or it could be, me sticking my fist up his ass, or a good oral scene where we'll just do oral for like an hour or whatever.
Nice.
But other than that, like, it's just our dynamic is more of the relationship. Like you said, we're dating. So when we're together, it's me and him, and when they're together, it's them, and when we're all together, we're just all kind of friends, and it's really just a comfortable setting. That's my answer.
Good answer.
So ours is also sexual, but as I'm pretty new to the scene, like you said, we played, we switched before, but I get a little nervous because I don't know what I'm doing, and I don't want to hurt anyone. But Kai's been nice enough to let me spank him a bunch of times. But I say with ours, he's more dominant with our dynamic. And with Viv, I love Viv very much. So I love every time she hangs out with us. But
You've also spanked me too.
I have. The first time I spanked you, I was like, whack. You're like,
I was like, I'm sorry.
That's kind of a great story. We need to tell that story
Yes,
a little bit because Vivian just had a birthday, and
Wow.
and so we had a sleepover at my place that night, and the two of them had not played together before, and so earlier that day, Vivian and I had kind of had that morning actually. We had a kind of little sexy kinky scene that we had done, and we kind of recreated that later for this one. But it was for Viv's birthday. And you want to tell how that went down?
So it was my birthday spankings, and so I got spankings for actually a very long time. And the scene we had earlier in the day was
My hands are already starting to itch again.
Earlier in the day, I was giving him a blowjob, and he was spanking me like over my back side.
Nice.
So as I was giving a blowjob, it was impact. So when we played later that night, my head was in her lap, and he was spanking me, and it was just really, really erotic. And so yeah, she jumped in also and got her spankings in, and
Nice.
lots of spankings.
That was kind of our first, the first time the three of us had kind of been sexual, like in a setting with the three of us together, where there was any kind of sexual thing going on. Because I'm very sensual when I play, but rarely sexual.
Yeah.
Because I have pretty strict ideas about like what's safe and things like that. So I don't sleep with other people.
Yeah.
The people that I do think the same way I do about safety and testing and stuff like that. So I don't want to get into that. That's a whole conversation, but that's like a 2-hour conversation. But that was our first time, the three of us, actually having something sexual happen when it wasn't just a one-on-one situation.
Nice.
It was really comfortable too. There wasn't, at first I was really nervous about the idea of us being together because, you don't really know the relationships and where we stand and stuff, and I was kind of nervous about
I
like.
think it was only maybe the third time we had hung out.
Yeah, it was
and like we never like.
Aw.
I don't know. In the first few times, it was more like we just met.
Yeah, it's like
It
a
was-
hug. It's kind of like,
Yeah.
hey, you're my boyfriend's girlfriend. How's it going? Like, kind of awkward. But after that first night, we got our own bond going. So, like it helps when it's not just like, say, a male telling two girls, kiss each other, do this. It's not like that. It's more of us choosing what we want to do and having a say in everything. And it's really
organic.
comfortable. Yeah, organic.
Organic.
Well, no, yeah, it sounds like there's a
Yeah.
definite amount of compatibility there.
There is. I mean, we all really like each other.
Awesome.
That makes a big difference. We don't just want to fuck each other. We actually really like each other and want to spend time together.
Yeah, so
And an addendum to this whole thing,
Mhm.
and what I should have said in the first place is, neither one of them has been in a poly relationship.
oh,
This is new.
okay.
This is new.
And like, so we both started about the same time. So we both started dating him about the same time. So I think we're kind of on the same level, like emotionally, and just trying to find ourselves in these relationships and stuff. So it's really easy when we can talk to each other or talk to Pi, who's really open and able to, you know, assert our emotions and our feelings.
I'm really annoying about talking and sharing. No?
We have another chat room question. That's the reason why I'm trying to time in on this one, is because this is very important, especially since the girls are new. Angelo wants to know, he says, for everybody that's there, he says, how do you handle jealousy both during regular life and during party play?
I'm still working on mine. Honestly, like I said, it's my first poly relationship. It's always been really monogamous, really possessive, you know, so when I'm watching like him play with anybody else or even just in general, my first instinct is like, ugh, just playing with her. Then like my second is like, oh my god, they're playing. Like, I want to watch this. Like, I want to, you know, see what's going on. And so it's just re-evaluating my opinion or my thoughts on the situation. It's like, why am I jealous? What's bringing this feeling about? And like, how can I, you know, just change it. Just make the negative feelings positive and just go on from there. I think that's my.
I was really nervous at first because I didn't know if I was going to be an insanely jealous person. Like, I didn't know what was going to happen. And honestly, Vivian helped with that because I really like Vivian, and I was like, you know, like Pi has amazing taste in like just his friends. Like I said, I'm very new, so I met all my friends kind of. They're all Pi's friends, and I met Vivian, and because I like her so much. You know, I realized that these are all cool people. I love Vivian. I like watching them play. Like, I want to join in when they play. So that kind of helps. I do also still get, like, kind of, like, little pangs of feelings if I see something. But same thing, I work through it. And, you know, as long as I know that I feel special.
And the communication line is open all the time.
It's always
That's
open.
key. That's key. And, you know, from time to time, we all get little feelings of insecurity. It's, we're human beings. You know, we have
sometimes in a way, you know.
And that's the thing is taking that fear and looking at it like, why am I feeling what inside me is making me fearful? Because that's really the problem. It's not out here. It's not what I'm seeing her do with somebody else, her or him or whatever, whoever. It's not that. It's what am I afraid of? What is the fear that is coming up for me? And when I can recognize that the fear is, you know, I'm not good enough, whatever, and I can really sit with that for a moment, it takes me about half a second, actually.
Yeah.
At this point, but for me, it's been 10 years. So I might get that pang as well, but it goes from a little bit of fear and insecurity to instant conversion, like almost instant. You know, there's like a half a second where I'm, uh-oh, but then I'm like, I'm just happy. You know? I'm happy. You told me there's somebody that she might be interested in, and I'm excited about that. And she was really nervous to tell me about it, and I think this is a great story because this is what we did. This is why this is what. She was really nervous to tell me about it, and I could tell. And so I just sat and I listened. I didn't really say anything. And I think how I phrased it was when she was done talking, I said, she told me that she loves this guy and so on. And I said, okay, well, my only real concern is when do I get to watch?
True story.
And that's, I mean, I don't know if it's exactly how I said it, but that is kind of like, and I didn't have any jealousy or anything come up for me at all in that situation, but I was generally, like, I got choked up because I could tell she was excited about it, which is why she was nervous about it. Because when you're excited about someone else and you have to tell your partner that you love and cherish, that there is somebody else that you also love and cherish, that's a really scary place to be in.
Oh, it absolutely
It's a very scary
is,
place.
and you're not sure how the other person's going to react. Yeah. I mean, I personally don't have jealousy issues, but I've had partners in the past that have had jealousy issues. So if I have to tell somebody in my present life, those issues of those people being jealous make me a little scared to talk to a person because I don't know if they're going to flip out on me or not. You know, where all I'm trying to do is be honest and say genuinely what's going on and what needs I need to have met, and that it shouldn't be a jealousy thing. But you don't know what the other person's life experiences are.
Yeah.
You know, but I love the way that you guys talk that out. That is beautiful.
I told you I'm really annoying about it.
And it is hard for me. Communication's hard for me. This is the first relationship I've ever had open communication where I've actually been able to voice my opinion and my feelings. Usually it's been really restrained on what I can say to my partner, you know? Yeah, because a lot of times most of the guys I used to date were alcoholics, and so there's that point where it's we don't care what you have to say, and so you just kind of bottle it up. And so the first time we actually had a conversation where I had to voice my jealousy or my problems or whatever issues I'm having, like I cried and stuttered the whole time because it was really hard for me to get the words out for the you remember it was like it was
I totally
so
remember.
hard.
I had an erection the whole time.
Oh my
I'm like, oh my god, tears. Excuse me a minute. I need to work this out.
Crying, let you know that.
Yeah. That kind of vulnerability really turns me on.
You're right.
I love your honesty. You know, just the fact that you guys have truly gotten in touch with, you know, your authentic selves, and that you're, you know, every person has these aspects to their personality. I haven't met a man on the face of the planet that didn't have a feminine side, but the majority of them are absolutely terrified to recognize that or acknowledge it. And it's such a shame.
The feminine is beautiful.
It is.
I embrace it 100%.
And I love that about you. Oh my God, that is so freaking awesome. You know, when people are actually willing to get inside their soul and take a look and be who they really are, you know, and let that fear go, that is the most beautiful thing on the face of the planet, as far as I'm concerned. Do you have any more people sharing in the chat room yet, Mel?
No, they're just watching, but there are lots of people that are watching the show that are not in the chat room. Please come in the chat room.
Herbs.
Yeah, we have like 10 more minutes or 11 more minutes to go. So come in if you got any burning questions that you want to ask him, like his phone number, how big his cock is, whatever. You know, just ask it.
Oh, that's true. How big is your cock?
It's average.
It's average?
Yeah.
What do you consider average?
A little over 6.
That is very nice. Yeah, that is pretty average. Is that hard or soft?
Correct.
Erect. And does it turn color when it gets erect? Are you one of those that gets purple?
No, not really. Not purple. No.
It is decorated though.
No. Yeah, I do have jewelry though.
You have jewelry?
Yeah.
Any tats on your penis?
No, I haven't gone there. I kind of like it. It's pretty. I think it's pretty, so I don't want to really.
Well, besides,
That's
then
what
you
that-
leave lots of space for, you know, if you girls get curious one night to take the Sharpie and decorate it for him.
Oh my God, we need to do it tonight.
Purple and green.
There you go.
So what kind of piercing do you
I have an
have?
apodravia.
What's an apodravia?
It's like a Prince Albert. Prince Albert goes through the bottom
Yeah.
of the urethra.
Yes.
So the apodravia would just continue up through the head, through the
Oh,
glands.
wow.
So it's just wear clothes. Sometimes I have a pretty big hoop that I sometimes wear like as a reverse PA. So it goes in my urethra and comes out the top.
Now, what kind of sensations does that give you?
I like the weight of it.
You like the weight of
Yeah,
it?
it feels good. Because I don't wear underwear. I hope nobody at work is watching this. And they'll be like
Commando.
looking for the jewelry bouncing around in there. Yeah, I like the weight of it. I don't usually keep it in though, you know, for all types of sexual activity, but for some.
Yeah, I was
Just
going to
depends.
ask, do you
Just
actually
depends.
fuck women with that jewelry on?
Absolutely.
And how does that feel?
We haven't.
You haven't?
Not yet.
Not with the jewelry?
Yeah, not with the jewelry in. Not recently. Not recently.
Okay.
It's been a couple. I think Whitney, my baby girl that I just said hi to. Hi, baby girl.
Aww.
She lives in San Francisco. She and I have had sex with women a number of times, and I some women like it, some women don't. I mean, you know, it's a ball of metal rubbing on the inside of your
It's
vagina.
also a pretty big gauge.
Yeah,
Pretty big.
It's like a 6 cage, I think. Something like that.
Yeah, but you're such a good size for the average vagina.
I'd like to think so.
Well, I think you are. I mean,
No
you know,
complaints.
especially with the jewelry and everything. I mean, it should
Yeah.
be. You should be able to do some quite lovely stuff to the G spot and the
Well,
urethra
yeah.
sponge, and tickle that cervix, and yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So, do you guys have any fantasies you have yet to fulfill that you've been thinking about?
Alright, I have a rape fantasy.
Let's ask the newbie. The newbie wants to be raped.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, that's a pretty heavy duty fantasy.
Yes, it is.
Mm.
Wonderful thing.
And is that a fantasy you've ever fulfilled for anybody?
I
before?
actually have for a few people. Three. I've done that with 3 different women. Obviously it was something that they wanted, of course.
Yeah.
And something that they wanted to play out. And, I got pretty beat up.
Oh,
They don't
wow.
ever tell you how dangerous it is to be the rapist.
No, they don't.
I've hurt myself a couple times.
Oh my goodness.
Doing these scenes. Yeah, it's pretty strenuous, and if you're doing it right and you're
Well, it's
really
extremely visceral.
yeah, and if you're really going for it, and really making that a real scene,
Mm-hmm.
to have that fantasy really play out, you really gotta be into it 100%.
Well, you do, and I've heard of many people in the different ways they do it. Everything from actually kidnapping the victim and the whole thing, and it's
Got something like that in the plan right now.
oh my goodness. But audience, you do need to realize that when people do indulge in a rape fantasy, it is fantasy role play. People have discussed this and discussed their roles. There may be a little bit of surprise planned, but people don't usually just
Yeah, I mean we all have different things that psychologically turn us on.
Mhm.
Like our brain is a powerful sexual organ, and 90% of what I do with anyone is the psychological aspect of it, the mental part of it, and 10% of it is the physical for me. I always get off psychologically way more than I do physically.
Oh, I
Because
agree
it's
with
such a
that.
huge part of who we are. So, yeah, it's an awesome thing to find those fantasies and then be open with somebody enough to play them out, in a safe environment where you don't actually have to be subjected to somebody who's really going to cut you if you scream, somebody who's really going to, give you HIV or something.
Yeah.
Because you don't know where they came from, in a dark alley somewhere. So we get to do all these dark, twisted things with each other in a very safe and loving environment. As aggressive and sometimes sadistic as that particular energy can be,
Yes.
coming from me, it's coming from a place of honoring who they are as a masochist in that situation, in that specific situation.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
it's really about love, like respecting the other person and who they really are, because they've been vulnerable enough to let me know this. And I want to honor that and help them, if I can. I'm sure there are certain things that may come up that I'm just like, I can't do that. I just wouldn't be comfortable with it. But the rape fantasy is something that I have done a couple times.
Well, yeah, my sir, I mean, I don't know if he knows this or not, but he gave me a terrific gift. I was cut up rather badly with a knife when I was 19. Somebody tried to murder me. My boyfriend at the time actually tried to kill me about 4 or 5 times. But the last time, I mean, he sliced me up. I was bloody head to foot, And, of course, it left me with some horrible traumatic fear. And as I got into the scene and, people started doing knife play with me, my fear was genuine. And, of course, that was turning those guys on because I would actually go into tears and everything and try not to move but be shaken like a leaf. And they thought that was so freaking out. Matter of fact, I believe Princess Callie's Kink Academy, I did a video with them. And the fear is totally genuine. But somewhere along the way, I was bottoming for one of Sir's knife play classes, and he said, "You need to change this up. There are vanillas here. Them seeing you in fear is going to be uncomfortable for them. It's okay to enjoy this. It's actually very sensual to some people." And a light went on. And wow, knife play is extremely sensual, and it is okay to enjoy it. You know, I didn't realize how much I had grown and how much of the trauma I had let go, that I had really I had to let go of an old pattern. And he basically gave me permission to let go of that pattern. And I have to tell you, it is the most wonderful gift.
That's why we have the people that we have in our lives, because they help us gain a new perspective.
They do. Absolutely. You know, so this is exciting. Anybody else in that chat room now?
Yeah, we have 3 questions, and we only have a few minutes to go. So the first question is from Angelo for PI, or for are all your partners female, or are you involved with men as well?
At the moment, all my partners are female. I was dating a married couple for about 7 or 8 months, and that unfortunately ended. But yeah, I'm very, very much open to dating men as well. It's just not in my sphere right now.
Okay, the second question is from guest 718. What is the most non-traditional or bizarre place or location they would like to have a sexual fantasy scene together?
Dating us?
All 3 of us.
No, I've never really thought about going outside the sanctuary or the apartment. But
It's like we already play in dungeons. I mean, what more do you want?
I've always, my fantasy, which we said last time I was here, is to be tied to a tree. So I'm gonna go ahead and say that we should all go play in the
Camping!
I think that's a
perfect
idea.
We can rape you on a tree.
Yeah, I've been tied naked to trees. Yeah, I had bark butt for 2 weeks.
I'll take it.
But I've known a lot of people that have done that. They know somebody who's got some acres or something, and they go and they do scenes in the woods, and it's truly awesome.
Yeah.
You know, especially running around naked in nature.
Oh, yeah.
It's hot.
Fantastic.
Well, you know, they've got those new shows, Naked and Afraid. No need to be afraid. Let's just get naked. Any more questions now?
We just had guest 822 come into the chat room, and he's got a question for Pi. The viewers can't quite see your pants, but they look fantastic. Can you give the viewers a look and tell us where you got them?
I don't know if you can see that in the light.
Yes.
Yeah, these are fucking fabulous, aren't they?
They have little, it's got like star patterns and stuff if it hits it at the right angle. They are truly amazing. They're blue and kind of pink purple.
Purple, yeah. Blue and purple.
Well, I guess they call that like wine, actually.
Okay.
I don't know. It's really
Burgundy.
cool. I had one of those old headbands from the 80s that would match that perfectly, you know, where they used to twist it up. It would totally go with your pants.
Yeah, I love these pants. I saw these, I was like, oh my god, those are the most queer pants I've ever seen. I must own them.
Oh, I love
And
it.
so I did, and now I'm on a mission to find a more queer pair of pants. If anybody, you know, knows where I could get a more queer pair of pants, please let me know, because I'd like to wear them.
Well, there you go. You guys can drop us a line, or do you have contact information for people, like on FetLife or something, where they can drop you a message and say,
Yeah,
I
I'm
got
on
these cool
FetLife.
pants?
I'm on FetLife. It's MR_PI, so Mr_Pi.
Mr. Pie.
On FetLife. Don't be confused with like the whole Mr. Dom thing. I don't claim to be anything other than me. So.
Oh, I love that. You're genuinely you. So if you guys find these cool pants like he's looking for, you know, drop him a line, or, you know, this is one hell of an intro. Really cute guy, guys. You know, this is your opportunity. He just gave you an in. Contact him. Buy him some pants. Any more questions, Mel?
No, but guest 718 says the woods are great. And speaking of woods, in 30 miles out of Houston, Texas, Liberty Manor is a BDSM town that they're building out in the wilderness that you can go camping. You can run around in the nude all day long if you want to. And it's a wonderful place to go. It's on 1,500 acres. They've only been working on 300 acres. They have places where you can go shoot guns, bone arrows, hay rides, BDSM scenes, parties, barbecues. It's awesome. It's called libertymanor.org, I think it is. Yeah, so it's a good place, and it's 30 miles out of Houston, and they will come and pick you up at the airport.
We need to just take over, like, Delaware. That might be a little small. I think Colorado's a little big. A little cold for my taste.
Yes.
Arizona's too hot.
Well, and there's no trees there, except in the northern
That's
part.
true. Well, we can plant a tree.
Yeah. I mean, there's a little town called Beaver Holler that's kind of up at the Four Corners there in the mountains. I know about it because I was driving through that area, and we lost a fuel line, and we was dropping fuel. We had to stop at the local diner and, jerry rig the fuel pump back together and screw it on. Yeah, so we broke down Beaver Holler. It was a beautiful place.
I feel like you're about to tell me to squeal like a pig.
Please do.
No thanks.
There's always one. Hey, now we've been doing a poll lately. Has that ever come back or?
No, it hasn't.
Ah.
It's I need a spanking because I haven't done it. Never mind.
Yeah, you're definitely on the naughty list.
Yeah, I'm definitely on the lazy naughty list.
I never found out if I was naughty or nice.
Oh, we did get some poll results for you. Yeah, they you were like nicely naughty and naughty but definitely nice.
Aw.
And
you.
they would definitely think it would be really nice to be naughty with you.
But they can type in the chat room if they're naughty or nice. Type in the chat room if you think they're naughty or nice, and the people that are not in the chat room, you guys lose big time.
They're busy masturbating.
Yes.
You can't type.
Well, that's true, It's like, use your toes. Well, we are pretty much to the end of the show here. You guys have been fabulous. Thank you so much for being on.
Thank you for having me.
I love your energy. This was really sweet. And I can't wait to hear about your upcoming adventures. I want details.
Got it.
Awesome. We may have to have them come back and tell us how the fantasy went.
Ooh.
Actually, I think that would be very educational because there's a lot of people out there that have that same fantasy as you. And I think it is something that we should talk about, because we all have interesting fantasies like that. Mm-hmm. Well, my guest next week is going to be Mr. Sanctuary Leather. He is fabulous. He's been in the scene for quite a while, and we're going to learn a lot about him and all the things he's been up to this year as wearing the leather title for Mr. Sanctuary Leather. And I have to tell you, he's fabulous.
I love him.
So, yes, it's going to be a great show next week. Do we have any announcements or anything that we need to announce, Mel?
Yeah, we do have an announcement. I don't know if people have noticed, but I am taking some time off of my show, the Rev Mel Show, on Monday, because my daughter is getting married on October 18th, and there's so much to do. So we're going to be running Naughty and Nice through September, and then we're going to take a few weeks off in October because of the fact we're dealing with the wedding, because it's 150 people at Malibu, at the ocean and all this sort of stuff. So we're going to take some time off in October, and I'm taking time off until November, so it's kind of cool. So,
okay.
Oh, and guess 718 said, I think they're a fantastic trio, Naughty and Nice.
Aww. All right, so you guys, we're only going to be on hiatus for a short while, but all those announcements will go out when we're back on the air, and maybe then you guys will have us some more stories to tell. That could be good.
For sure.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight, and thank you to my wonderful guests, and thank you so much for your help, Mel. And
Thanks, Mel.
we're gonna say goodnight.
Woohoo!